So, Gabe, you want to take us into our second segment, which is the CBS Sports Rankings. I'm so curious who CBS thinks is the number one team in the country.
So I think we're being disrespected here big time. You let me know what you think. I'll give our ranking.
I feel disrespected generally, yes.
I'll give a little bit of like the 5 or 6 teams ahead of us, the 5 or 6 teams behind us. I'll dive into the bottom of the pit, and then I'll climb back up to the top.
Okay.
So there are 137. Let me double check. I believe that's right. 136 FBS D1 teams that are in consideration. Where would you predict that we are?
Where would I predict that we are? Out of the 137?
136.
All right. I'm gonna say that we are probably 42.
You're not going to be happy.
I wasn't happy anyway, so just pile it on me.
63rd.
No, that is ridiculous.
I know.
We are not the 63rd. Athan, you should be furious about this. DT, you got to get on that field and you got to start running over people, okay, and having the star-studded you're going to have to prove these naysayers wrong. And the same goes for you folks on defense, okay? You know, the transfers that are coming in, Bradley Weaver, Doug Blue, Eli, Cam Miller, Jet Elon from the great city of Las Vegas. You guys should take offense at this, okay? Because this is good old-fashioned bull, you know what.
Bull hive, bull jive, whatever it may be. I just don't get how you fix the side of the football that was hurting you last year in the defense, make it your whole identity, and get about the same in offense with a returning senior quarterback. And you're not even in the top 50 when you have 2 straight winning seasons?
Yeah, CBS, I think he got this one wrong because if you look at our quarterback, you know, he's coming back from a pretty good year. He's going to be he's grown. He's going to be solid this year. We've got 3 solid running backs, if not 4, a much deeper wide receiving core, particularly with the addition of DT Sheffield. We have a good tight end and an offensive line well together is going to be special. And that defense has size and speed on the defensive line, which they didn't have last year, more depth, and a secondary that can be lights out if we get pressure on the quarterback particularly. So 63 nonsense. It's ridiculous.
Last year, you know, we had longer beam, Eric Rogers, but this year we have like four guys in the secondary that are key players, every single possession. But with that being said, and the thing is, like, sure, it's the players on the field that make the difference, but it's the guys off of it that execute the plays that the guys on the field run. And we have one thing that, there's 136 teams. I'll say he's a top 25 coach in Coach Schiano. So, yeah, BS. You want me to list some teams ahead real quick that'll make you even more mad?
Yes, but before you do that, I don't think Schiano is a top 25 coach. I think he's a top 10 coach. And 63, you're telling me we're right around the 50th percentile of teams. That is utter nonsense. And I'm not sure if I want you to tell me who's ahead of us because I'm afraid you're going to say something like Appalachian State, and then my night's going to be ruined.
No, you know what? The worst part about this is, no offense to the guys below, but like you have you have Maryland 67, you have Toledo 69, UTSA 71, UConn 76. Anyways, above us, Michigan State, who we beat 41-14 last year. JMU, who we stole 2 players from and an assistant.
Are you serious?
Yeah, JMU is 61. Virginia.
Come on, give me a break. We would defeat James Madison by 21 to 28 points. And Jason, you're 100% right. Good to see you, Jason. Preseason rankings don't matter. Just win, baby. And that's it. Next Thursday night, Shea Stadium is where it's at, kicking off the season for Rutgers. They got to be on their game because Ohio's not going to just roll over.
Nah. And, Texas State 59, Kentucky 57. Kentucky, they've had some decent players. NC State 55. I just can't get behind it.
A lot of those teams are teams that are very hard to rank because when I see Pit Snipe Husker here, great to see you. Thanks for being here. Rutgers was ranked 63.
Yeah. Out of 136. And some teams that are right below us. Oklahoma State 64, West Virginia 65, Boston College 66. I'm very surprised.
So a lot of these teams are hard to rank because they're like kind of these like ambiguous teams that each year in and year out, they win enough games to be considered, legitimate and competitive, but they don't really contend for the playoffs. So there's this huge bunch of teams like Boston College, like West Virginia.
Yeah.
That,
my God. You want to know where Ohio's ranked? They're ranked 90.
Ohio is ranked 90. So next Thursday night, number 63 versus number 90.
Let's see where Norfolk State and Miami of Ohio are.
Norfolk State is probably ranked 136.
This is unbelievable. I'm scrolling up. I haven't seen them yet. They might not be ranked, honestly. Yeah, they can't be ranked. Okay, they're not ranked. So that means
are they Division I, like
they must be D1 but FCS or something. I think they're FCS.
Well, I think Jason O said they have a good band. It may have been him who said it. So
the team in last place. Do you want to take a guess at that?
The team in last place. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Purdue.
You said Purdue? Purdue is surprisingly, they're not last. They are 92nd. So it's a team that you probably don't even think has a football team. It is. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to guess that it's Prairie View.
Prairie View. Are they even? I think they might be FCS because I haven't seen them. It's not them. It is Kent State.
Kent State. Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. Jason O says Michael Vick is Norfolk's coach. Jason O, I had no idea about that. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know. Michael Vick, as you know, guys, former Florida State's quarterback, went on to play, and have a very solid NFL career apart from, unfortunately, some personal issues with the regarding animal abuse. But regardless, he was a great quarterback. So it's interesting to see that he's coaching at Norfolk State. That could bode well for that football team.
Jets legend right there.
Yeah.
When you think of Michael Vick, the first team you think of is certainly the New York Jets.
I'm sorry. You know what, Jason? Oh, you're right. Vic played at Virginia Tech. That's my bad. I was thinking of the reason I said Florida State is because I remember Virginia Tech played Florida State in the national championship game back maybe, I don't know, in the early mid-90s or something. So I confused the two. But yeah, Virginia Tech, a product of Blacksburg and I think Frank Beamer.
You know who's 135 is UMass. Akron 134, Ball State 133, Kennesaw State. Charlotte is 130, which surprises me. And, because it's in my backyard right now, unfortunate because one of my best friends, certainly in Pennsylvania and everywhere now, he goes to Temple, and Temple is ranked 127. Brutal.
Temple, well, yeah, I mean, I think that there's like the way these rankings shape up make it seem like you got your elite teams, but then you got a really large number of teams in the middle of the pack. And I would say going from probably 40 to 90. And so I don't think the distinctions there are incredibly significant, but I do think it's surprising that Rutgers is 63. I think that reflects a typical bias towards Rutgers historically, rather than a incisive examination of their actual team this year. So I take that with a grain of salt.
Because when you see us chirping at the rankings, people will be like, "Oh, that's cute," But we'll just have to wait and see. I think it pretty much says a lot about the University of Temple, or Temple University rather, that they're basically the football school of Philadelphia, and they can't get higher than 127.
Well, but think about what you just said, though. You said they're the football school of Philadelphia, and it's just kind of like, well, when I think of Philadelphia, I think of Rocky, and Rocky.
I love a dog.
Well, and that's who Rocky, may he rest in peace. I think of Rocky, Rocky II, Apollo Creed, University of Pennsylvania, and cheesesteaks.
So you're telling me that when you think of Philadelphia, you don't think of the defending Super Bowl champs and their sport football?
I was thinking about it in the college football context, but of course, the Eagles with that defensive line last year, unbelievable. Jason looking forward to a new era of Temple football with new coach Casey Keeler. Hey, Jason, I hope they do. Always love to see teams that historically haven't been powerhouses really come in and contend. So we wish our best to Temple, of course.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's going to be a surprise this year with Rutgers. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to win 9 or 10 games, but I'm not going to relegate them to 63 in the country. Like I said, I think 42 was a more realistic.
You remember the whole drama with Nico Yamaliava and Tennessee and UCLA?
How could I forget Nico? Nico's now a Bruin at UCLA. Nico,
guess where they are? They're 49. They did all that just to barely move into the top 50
because they have no defense. UCLA.
They're one spot ahead of Navy, and Colorado without Travis Hunter, without Shador, they're down to 46 now. They're behind Tulane. Crazy.
You have to give it to the men and women who serve in the military. Think about this. You go to Navy, and the curriculum and the demands of a Navy education are so difficult, yet they still manage to be a respectable football program. Credit to the folks at Navy and to all of our servicemen and women.
You think they're better than us, though?
I think it would depend on where we played them. If we went at Navy, I think we'd lose. I think if they came to us, we'd win. Does Navy still do the option?
What, of home or away?
Does Navy still do the option offense? Because I think it was Navy.
Not sure. I would have to rewatch.
I know the Citadel does because they came to Alabama a few years ago and there was 10-10 at the half and they were flummoxing the Crimson Tide defense with that option. But anyway.
Yeah, so they are 50. What's interesting is Florida State 2 years ago, undefeated record, snubbed only because of injury from the playoffs. Now they are 41.
Florida State is an interesting, at least in the last few years. So, yes, they were snubbed from the playoffs, but I think there was at least an understandable reason why, because their starting quarterback was injured. But then so many players opted out against Georgia, and I think it was like 66-7 or something. Then last year, I don't know what happened last year. I suspect they'll be more improved, but I think the real barometer of where Florida State's at is going to come when you see them play the Crimson Tide in Tallahassee to open the season.
Yeah, 100%. So moving on, we have, let's see, Iowa ranked 30. Indiana, after that incredible season, ranked 23. Let's see, Texas A&M 18. South Carolina 16. Michigan 15. You know who's in front of Michigan? Illinois.
Yeah, so the way I see it with Illinois, Illinois is going to have one of their best years in a long time. Luke Altmaier is a legit quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
They have a good receiving core. I think Illinois is going to be very tough this year. And where was Indiana? Indiana was 23. Indiana had, a magical season. A little bit disappointing, though, in South Bend, and I think Signetti would agree. They just didn't play up to their potential, but really still a great year. But when it comes down to the Big Ten, I think where we're going to struggle is when I think of Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, at Illinois, at Washington. I mean, there's so many perilous games, but that doesn't mean that we can't win some, even most of them. It's going to depend on the intangibles. And I think Pitt Snipe Husker had a comment that we were 2 spots ahead of, I believe that was finished 2 spots ahead of the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. Now, interesting, Nebraska last year in Lincoln, a 14-7 victory over a mistake-prone Rutgers, and a Rutgers team that could not get in the end zone from the 3-yard line on 4 straight plays. Yeah. The Nebraska Cornhuskers bring back Dylan Raiola, and a team you never want to count out. I think Nebraska improves this year and could crack the top 25.
I don't know. Personally, I'm not really a Dylan Ravioli believer, but to each their own.
I'm not I don't have an opinion either way at this point. I want to give him one more year, but
I think everyone thinks just because he looks like Patrick Mahomes that he plays like Patrick Mahomes when that's not really the case.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to see if they switched spots. Mahomes plays a game for Nebraska and Raiola plays one for the Chiefs.
I thought you were going to say Mahomes plays like Dylan Raiola.
No, the thing about Mahomes is he's just a rare special talent, and his arm is just incredible. But I digress.
So going back to these rankings, it's crazy to me that Illinois is above Michigan because when you think of the Big Ten, you think, oh, Ohio State, you think Penn State, and you think Michigan. And, you don't think of Illinois in that same breath.
Right. Well, on that point, and by the way, Austin, I agree, they need to avoid complacency. Pitt Snipe Husker makes a great point that Rutgers has to go 5-0 to begin the season for people to start believing. And for us to do that, Pitt Snipe Husker, we've got to beat the Hawkeyes in New Jersey in the fourth game of the season.
Number 30 team. Yeah, that would give us a chance at being ranked.
Yeah. So, complacency, I think, is what he meant, yes.
It's interesting, too. You guys, your team, the New York Giants, got Cam Skattebo, who a lot of people assumed was Arizona State's entire offense, but without him, they're still ranked 11th.
Skattebo is a absolute stud. I don't know how he's going to translate to the NFL, but let me tell you something. In that Texas game, this guy's thrown up on the sidelines, coming back into the game and giving his heart and soul. That's the kind of person and player you want on a team. Welcome to the Giants.
250 yards rushing?
He was a warrior and just nothing but admiration for him.
All right, so you ready for this top 10? So
I'm not sure if I'm ready because I'm afraid there's going to be a team there that's going to make my blood pressure go through the roof, but why not?
There will be one, in my opinion, and that's just because of the Garrett Nussmeier effect. So number 10 is Miami, but I thought it said Miami of Ohio. I was ready to lose my mind. Imagine that.
So Carson Beck and his friends are ranked number 10.
Do you think that he'll be a sufficient replacement for Cam Ward?
I think that he's a bit enigmatic. And what I mean, I guess, is he has the potential to do great things, but he also has the potential to be mediocre. And I've often thought that a lot of the issue with him is his mindset. Like Alabama was a perfect game last year. The first half, he was terrible. The second half, he was lights out. So if he can be consistent and play up to his potential, but again, does Miami have a defense this year? I don't know.
Yeah, number 9. I think it's, like I said, I think it's the Nussmeier effect. It's LSU at number 9. Everyone's saying Nussmeier's like, he could win the Heisman this year. I think no chance, but everyone loves him as a pick if it's not Arch Manning or Drew Aller or something.
Nussmeier, again, Alabama last year, he had a terrible game, and against USC last year was inconsistent.
Yeah.
So, again, he's another one like Beck where he has the potential for greatness, but often struggles with consistency. But, hey, it's a new year. Maybe they've grown. We'll see how it goes. But what I think justifies LSU being at number 9 is I suspect they will have a much, much improved defense.
Yeah. Just looking at what Jason says.
Oh, yes. Miami is going to be good this year, but I think I'm not sure if I still have a few questions about Carson Beck and their defense, but we'll see.
What I want to know is Mo Toure starting as linebacker in Miami?
He better be. What the hell did he transfer for? Mo, what were you thinking, Mo?
Mo, we miss you.
Jabome is sitting there saying, "Where's Mo?" No, but we wish Mo the best of luck, of course.
4 years at Rutgers through those treacherous first 2 years is no joke.
Yeah, Mo, best of luck to you, buddy. Good luck with the Hurricanes.
Number 8, Alabama.
Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I think that's too low for Alabama. I think
they did not make the playoffs last year, though some argue they should have.
They didn't make the playoffs, but this year I think you're going to see a much improved Alabama team, particularly on defense with those cornerbacks who were true freshmen last year. Really, I think they've grown a lot, especially with the game experience they've had. They still have Ryan Williams and Ty Simpson just named the starter at Alabama. So I think Alabama is a team to watch. I would probably have them at number 6, but hey.
I think if they couldn't make the playoffs last year with a second-year Jalen Milroe, I don't think they'll make it this year necessarily. And I know it's not live or die by the quarterback, but in college football, it seems to matter a lot more.
I think one of the issues last year was that Jalen Milroe Jalen Milroe is an interesting player because he can do things that other players can't. But in some ways, I think he limited DeBoer's offense because he's still growing as a passer. But
yeah,
one thing about Milroe is he's impressing people on the Seahawks, and I think Alabama. Hey, at 8 or at 6, they're going to be in the mix for the playoff.
And by the way, Milroe is my dark horse best quarterback out of last year's bunch.
I mean, if you look at him against Georgia in the first half, he was unbelievable. If you look at him against LSU, he ran over LSU.
Yeah.
But then you have issues against Oklahoma and Tennessee. So,
but you know who else has had a down year after having a year of promise in college football? Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. And that is the mold I see of Jalen Milroe.
Oh, that's a really good point. Jalen Hurts, benched in the national championship game against Georgia, sits on the bench when Tua, replaced him, then goes to Oklahoma and under Lincoln Riley has
a solid, not spectacular year there.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe and Jalen Hurts have one thing in common. They have really resilient and tough mindsets. And
I thought you were going with their name was Jalen.
Well, that's true, actually.
You said one thing in common. But number 7 is Oregon.
I am not a duck, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not a duck. Oregon always has this high-flying offense, and last year they had a better defense. But, when they go up against the elite teams in the playoffs, they typically always lose. And we saw that in the Rose Bowl last year. So Oregon, they'll be very good, but I think they're a playoff contender, and then they'll be in the playoffs, but get knocked out.
Yeah. I mean, they'll make the playoffs. They typically do. It'll be interesting with Dylan Gabriel now gone to see how that offense functions. Number 6, coming off of a championship runner-up year, is Notre Dame. I think that might be a little too high, even though they had a great year last year.
Well, here's what I would say about Notre Dame. Who's their quarterback?
Notre Dame.
Angeli's gone.
I should know this. Hold on.
And Riley Leonard's gone.
I swear, because I do the graphics, and isn't it?
I'm always a little bit hesitant.
CJ Carr. He's a freshman.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit hesitant when a team is adjusting to a new quarterback, especially a true freshman. But I think Ohio State's got Julian Sayin at the helm this year.
He's a redshirt freshman. And, and Cal just appointed, oh, my God, crazy name. I'm going to call him JKS. They just named him as starting quarterback.
Who did?
Cal, University of California. And they named him starting quarterback over that Ohio State transfer who's now a senior.
Wow, that's interesting. Although I must object on the grounds of relevance when we talk about Cal Berkeley, because I declare them irrelevant to college football because they're always mediocre.
Number 5.
I love it. Moving on.
Number 5 is who a lot of people year in, year out will say they should be the title favorites. This year, not so much. Very prone to car incidents, automobile incidents, and that is the University of Georgia.
Yeah, so I live about an hour and a half from Athens, and big-time Georgia fans there, very intense fans. I think this year Kirby Smart's going to have a team that seriously contends for a spot in the national championship game. I think last year was a very disappointing year for them, especially that avoidable loss to the Irish, which turnovers, letting second half kickoff return. So I think they're going to be tough this year, but I'm not sold on them any higher than 5.
No.
Cal does have a cool stadium, Jason O, and Berkeley is a cool place.
Number 4, I know I keep disrespecting a lot of these top 10s, but number 4 also very much surprises me, and that is Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson is going to have a great year this year.
I think Cade Klubnik is a fantastic quarterback, but does he have enough around him? Because they're usually an offensive school, at least in recent history. Is that a big enough offense to be the number 4 ranked college football team? I guess time will tell.
I think Clemson this year, I mean, they haven't been they haven't been elite the last few years, but I think this year they've got the talent. I think Clemson is going to have a defense that's going to be lights out. They're just a loaded team this year.
If their defense is lights out, then book them for a spot in the Natty because their offense is their identity.
I don't like their uniforms.
I do because I grew up in Croton-on-Hudson, New York, home of the Croton Tigers, and our uniforms looked very similar to theirs. Number 3 is, guess what? So you know the top 3 is at this point, right?
I'm going to. I'm certain I know 2 of them.
Who are the 2?
It has to be Texas, Ohio State. I don't know why this is eluding me.
It shouldn't be. They're in our conference.
Texas, Ohio State, and I'm sorry, I'm not.
We play them this year.
Texas, Penn State.
Yeah. So what would your order be of those 3?
That's a great question. And my answer is I don't know because I would right now have Clemson at 1.
1. That is a bold
Clemson
take.
is the preseason 1. I as far as Texas goes, there's 2 things that bother me about Texas. And I have a ton of respect for Sark, but Arch Manning has not played a tremendous amount of snaps. So before we anoint him the next best thing, let's see how he develops. I'm sure he's going to be elite, but again, he's not a seasoned quarterback. And to me, Texas has that Texas thing sometimes where they just don't play to their potential and they lose games that they shouldn't, like they did in the playoff against Washington.
They should not. Arizona State should not have been a close one either. They were one play away, and if there wasn't a 20-yard touchdown, they lose that game.
Yeah, I think Clemson is in my preseason number 1. But if I had to order them right now, it would be of those 3. It would be Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 3 is Ohio State. Number 2 is Penn State, though, and number 1 is Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Texas has, of course, has the talent, but I just don't. We'll see what happens in Columbus on week 1.
With Ohio State, it's really just the freshman quarterback thing. I mean, the whole team is like foolproof when you look at it up and down. Even with losing almost their entire offense outside of Jeremiah Smith this past year, it's still top to bottom an amazing roster. I think Texas should be the favorites because you're right. Arch Manning hasn't played too much college football, but when he has played, fans have said that he should be starting over Quinn Ewers because for instance, there was a game earlier last year, I forget who, but I want to say it was around week 3 or week 4. It was right after I placed a bet for Quinn Ewers to win Heisman that he went down for a couple of weeks. Arch Manning steps in, and fans are saying that he's better than Quinn Ewers. And now Quinn Ewers is dominating preseason games with the Dolphins. And look, I just think Texas is very much overdue for a national championship. They've been relevant for quite a few years now, and building on last year, transferring realms from a NFL-ready quarterback to a future NFL superstar quarterback. I think they're ready.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be a very interesting game in Columbus. But Arch Manning played at Newman High School in New Orleans, so that's a good high school, but not the elite competition like an IMG or a Mater Dei. And I mean no disrespect to him, but I have to see more to be convinced, and that'll probably happen. But I'm taking a wait and see approach on Texas, but Ohio State too. I'm taking a wait and see approach because They lost so much on offense. There is a sleeper team, though, that are not mentioned in these rankings. A sleeper team that's going to shock everyone that I think could surprise a lot of people this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from the state of Alabama.
Auburn?
Yes.
They're ranked 32.
Watch out for Auburn.
Jackson Arnold is no joke. I like Jackson Arnold.
Yeah. So we'll see.
It's crazy to me that they really value the returning quarterback aspect, and yet we're only 63 because Penn State at number 2, and I mean this with no disrespect to Penn State, how are they better than Ohio State?
I don't know because Ohio State went to Happy Valley last year and, apart from an early 10-0 deficit, dominated the game and really contained Drew Aller. But
they exposed Oregon.
Yeah, and they could, and you know what? Give Ohio State 2 more seconds, and they may have beat Oregon in Eugene because I think it was the quarterback slide at the end when the clock ran out.
Yeah, and them having that great year last year really adds fuel to their fire of Michigan 2023 scandal.